As you can imagine, the president's study is sparking a reaction from both sides of the aisle tonight. Earlier today, I caught up with Aaron Belkin, the director of the Take Back the Court group, and also Anthony Markham with the R Street Institute. Let's start off with the idea of expanding the court from the 9 justices we have right now. Let's talk again, the good and the bad. Anthony, take a crack at it.
Well, to begin, the problem with expanding the Supreme Court is that there's no end date. This is changing the number of Supreme Court justices, of course, is something that can be done under the Constitution. However, it hasn't been done for approximately 150 years, and that's for a good reason. It's good to have a concrete number of justices. The most recently it's been tried was by FDR in the 1930s, and it didn't go well, even by members of his own party. And the reason why is they identified it for what it actually is. It's a partisan attack on the courts. And the problem is, let's say one party through legislation can expand the number of Supreme Courts. There's nothing to prevent the opposite party from doing the same once they take power. This type of ballooning is just disastrous for the legitimacy of the federal courts.
Well, the Republicans did change the number of justices to 8 in 2016 in order to prevent President Obama from appointing a justice, and announced that if Hillary Clinton were to win the 2016 election, they would freeze the number at 8 until a Republican regained the White House. So the number has been changed recently. And of course, Republicans have been packing state Supreme Courts for years and have packed the Arizona and Georgia Supreme Courts. Look, the Supreme Court poses a grave danger to democracy by enabling voter suppression, which doesn't just keep black and brown voters from the polls, but also prevents a lot of Republicans from casting a ballot too. The Supreme Court destroyed campaign finance limitations. The Supreme Court blessed hyperpartisan gerrymandering. So there's really no way to restore democracy as long as the stolen Supreme Court continues to sabotage it. And court expansion is the one option that would allow the administration and Congress to rebalance the courts and restore democracy.
Do you support an idea that at least would make the Senate act in an expedient manner, regardless of who is in the White House? That is what Mitch McConnell, how he handled Garland, is the root of this. Do you at least see with the frustration, and can we at least make politics work and make the Senate work, regardless of who happens to be in the Oval Office?
And I think this is the restoration of norms, and I think there should be a commitment to actually doing a good faith scrutiny of any Supreme Court nominee, not only for the court to function properly, but for the country as well. I think that's absolutely fair, and I think the Senate should be more thoughtful and not play games with confirmation processes. Again, senators have the right to either confirm a justice or vote against a justice's confirmation, but that justice should at least have their time before a committee and a fair vote.
Gotcha. Let me shift gears to the other issue here, the idea of term limits. Aaron, how do you feel about that?
And so, yes, Congress and the administration need to put in place critically needed reforms for gun safety, H.R. 1 to restore democracy, climate change legislation to protect the climate, but the stolen court is going to curtail or strike down those fixes in the same way they continue to chip away at the Affordable Care Act, at Roe v. Wade, at any progressive fixes that are needed to address the crises we face. Term limits are a good idea, but they're not enough. The only way to produce a court, to rebalance the court in a way that would allow Congress and the administration to fix the crises that we face, is to expand the court.
Anthony, your thoughts on term limits?
Term limits often see the place where people find a middle ground, where people who are really hesitant about the extreme aspects of expanding the number of Supreme Court justices, and those who believe, well, gosh, we have to do something, tend to kind of reach this middle ground, that being term limits. The most common ideas are typically 18-year term limits for Supreme Court justices. The idea being that in one presidential term, a couple nominees will be available for that president to confirm. The idea being that this process will become regularized and political tensions would hopefully go down a bit. The problem is, first, you have constitutional implications. The Constitution is clear that federal judges serve life tenure. So to add term limits, you would have to change the Constitution. Some have proposed end arounds that just frankly aren't convincing. So to do this type of change, you would need dramatic bipartisan coalition supporting this, something we just frankly don't have at the moment.